Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome, friends, readers, listeners, and viewers from across America and around the world. This is Garcia. I'm your host. The program is FallenAngels.tv. It's a Wednesday evening broadcast, December 14th, 2011, and we're just a few weeks off from 2012 and the beginning of a new year, and this year has been hyped up for a long period of time. If you have not heard, just recently there's been another reference, a Mayan reference, found to this date, December 21st, 2012, as being a particular period of transition, and whether that holds to be true or not, I think that really over the past few years we've had rapid acceleration into massive transition and huge revelations in a lot of different areas, and that people all across the world now are starting to experience esoteric weirdness unlike they ever have before. I have friends that have never had experiences seeing, strange craft in the sky or having experience of weird anomaly, reporting to me that, things like this are happening even to them when they have been in disbelief and, doubting Thomases for forever long. It seems like the whole world is being served with a reality check and being forced to wake up to the truth of really what is one of the greatest secrets of our time and existence, and that is, the presence of the Nachash on this planet, and how they had been here even before we were here. And that whole history has been hidden from us, and even our ancient past, man's ancient past, and the grand story of it, how we fell to be in the flesh and here trapped on this planet where we're surrounded by devils and demons in a test, really, in a battle of light and darkness, of good and evil. Because this world, this dimension, this earth, this body, this flesh, this world age is but a trial, a testing ground, a proving grounds where we as fallen angels, fallen into the flesh, incarnated into the flesh, here where we prove our worth as servants of the Most High God in the Morning Star administration of the Son, of the only begotten Son, Yahushua, Savior, Messiah. And so there are very profound truths we're going to be discussing tonight. I'm going to be talking about the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. And for those that don't know, these texts are supposedly 36,000 years BC. And they're interesting in that the stuff they talk about are the same things that the Lord has been leading me to in coming to understand what it was that led Eve astray in the garden, and what exactly the cockatrice is, and how it connects to Quetzalcoatl and Kukulkan and Oanese and legends of the dragon and the feathered serpent and the winged serpent. And so we're going to tie all these things together tonight with the help of this very ancient text. And we've only got an hour, so I'm going to go ahead and get into it. I want to welcome everybody in the chat room and all the guests that are calling in, that are listening in. If we have a little time, I'll try to save the last 10 minutes or so to take calls if anybody has any questions on this. Again, this is the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. And just a little background on the tablets themselves. This will also tell you how it was they came to be in our possession, because it wasn't until 1929 that they actually came alight to the public and were released for consumption by the masses. Very interesting text. It says this: the history of the tablets translated in the following pages is strange and beyond the belief of modern scientists. Their antiquity is stupendous, dating back some 36,000 years BC. The writer is Thothmes, an Atlantean priest-king who founded a colony in ancient Egypt after the sinking of the mother country. He was the builder of the Great Pyramid of Giza, erroneously attributed to Cheops. In it, he incorporated his knowledge of the ancient wisdom and also securely secreted records and instruments of ancient Atlantis. For some 16,000 years, he ruled the ancient race of Egypt, from approximately 50,000 BC to 36,000 BC. At that time, the ancient barbarous race among which he and his followers had settled had been raised to a high degree of civilization. Thoth was an immortal, that is, he had conquered death, passing only when he willed, and even then not through death. His vast wisdom made him ruler over the various Atlantean colonies, including the ones in the South and Central America. When the time came for him to leave Egypt, he erected the Great Pyramid over the entrance to the great Halls of Amenti. Placed in it his records and appointed guards for his secrets from among the highest of his people. In later times, the descendants of these guards became the pyramid priests, by which Thoth was defiled as a god of wisdom, the recorder by those in the age of darkness which followed his passing. In legend, the Halls of Amenti became the underworld, the halls of the gods, where the souls passed after death for judgment. During later ages, the ego of Thoth passed into the bodies of men in the manner described in the tablets. As such, he incarnated 3 times in his last being known as Hermes, the thrice-born. In this incarnation, he left the writings known to modern occultists as the Emerald Tablets, a later and far lesser exposition of the ancient mysteries. The tablets translated in this work are 10 which were left in the Great Pyramid in the custody of the pyramid priests. The 10 are divided into 13 parts for the sake of convenience. The last 2 are so great and far-reaching in their importance that at present it is forbidden to release them to the world at large. However, in those contained herein are secrets which will prove of inestimate value to the serious student. They should be read not once but hundreds of times, for only thus can the true meaning be revealed. A casual reading will give a glimpse of beauty, but more intensive study will open avenues of wisdom for the seeker. But now, as to how these mighty secrets came to be revealed to modern man after being hidden so long. Some 1,300 years BC, Egypt, the ancient Kem, was in turmoil, and many delegations of priests were sent to other parts of the world. Among these were some of the pyramid priests who carried with them the emerald tablets, as a talisman by which they could exercise authority over the less advanced priestcraft of races descended from other Atlantean colonies. The tablets were understood from legend to give the bearer authority from Thoth. The particular group of priests bearing the tablets emigrated to South America, where they found a flourishing race, the Mayas, who remembered much of the ancient wisdom. Among these, the priests settled and remained. In the 10th century, the Mayas had thoroughly settled the Yucatan, and the tablets were placed beneath the altar of one of the great temples of the sun god. After the conquest of the Mayas by the Spaniards, the cities were abandoned and the treasures of the temples forgotten. It should be understood that the Great Pyramid of Egypt has been and still is a temple of the initiation into the mystery. It says this, and I don't believe this, but it says this. Jesus, Solomon, Apollonius, and others were initiated there. The writer, who has a connection with the Great White Lodge, which also works through the pyramid priesthood, was instructed to recover and return the Great Pyramid, the ancient tablets. This, after adventures which need not be detailed here, was accomplished. Before returning them, he was given permission to translate and retain a copy of the wisdom engraved on the tablets. This was done in 1925, and only now has permission been given for part to be published. It is expected that many will scoff, yet the true student will read between the lines and gain wisdom. If the light is in you, the light which was engraved in these tablets will respond. And that's from a guy named Doriel. Oh, he says this of what the tablets actually look like. Now, as a word as to the material aspect of the tablets. They consist of 12 tablets of emerald green, formed from a substance created through alchemical transmutation. They are imperishable, resistant to all elements and substances. In effect, the atomic and cellular structure is fixed, no change ever taking place. In this respect, they violate the material law of ionization. Upon them are engraved characters in the ancient Atlantean language, characters which respond to attuned thought waves, releasing the associated mental vibration in the mind of the reader. The tablets are fastened together with hoops of golden-colored alloy suspended from a rod of the same material. So much for the material appearance. The wisdom contained therein is foundation of the ancient mysteries, and for the one who reads with open eyes and mind, his wisdom shall be increased 100-fold. So, just to tell you a little bit about Thoth, and then we're going to get into the text because I don't want to spend a lot of time on this as far as who he is. But supposedly, he's the Ibis Headed God that is part of the pantheon of the Egyptian gods, the pagan gods. And he's also associated with the baboon for some reason. One of the signs, a symbol for Thoth is the combining of the sun disk and the moon crescent in his head. He's called the Celestial Lord. He was supposedly one of those that moderated between good and evil, that the souls of the dead were judged and had to go before him and his wife. It says this of Thoth: the first races of the doctrine of primordial egg, where all life began, can be authenticated in the pyramid text, where a union with the Ibis, Thoth takes place in the marshy areas of the delta. The pyramid texts were a collection of Egyptian mortuary prayers, hymns, and spells intended to protect a dead king or queen and ensure life and sustenance in the hereafter. The texts inscribed on the walls of the inner chambers of the pyramids from circa 2686 to 2160 BC are found out Saqqara in several 5th to 6th dynasty pyramids, of which that of Unas, last king of the 5th dynasty, is the earliest known. So Thoth is supposed to be this Atlantean king, that was part of the Atlantean priesthood. And it says in the text that he actually lifted up in a spacecraft and took all the artifacts and books of wisdom and knowledge with him, and that he buried this craft and deposited it under the paw of the Sphinx in Egypt. And that's really interesting in that it describes a spaceship in a 36,000-year-old BC text. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and go into it because you're going to find this truly, truly fascinating, especially for those that have been following my work, because it ties into so much of what we have already been covering. All right. All right. The history of Thoth the Atlantean. And just so you know, there's 12 texts that we're going to go through, but I'm not going to read every aspect of every text. I'm going to point out particulars, and I'll tell you exactly where to go so you can look this up for yourself. But the things that I found the most fascinating about these texts, and there are truly some very insightful things here that we're going to be discussing tonight. I, Thoth the Atlantean, master of mysteries, keeper of records, mighty king, magician, living from generation to generation, being about to pass into the halls of Amenti, set down for the guidance of those that are to come after, these records of the mighty wisdom of great Atlantis. In the great city of Kior, on the island of Undal, in a time far past, I began this incarnation, not as the little men of the present age did the mighty ones of Atlantis live and die, but rather from eon to eon did they renew their life in the halls of Amenti, where the river of life flows eternally onward. 100 times 10 have I descended the dark way that led into light, and as many times have I ascended from the darkness into the light, my strength and power renewed. Now for a time I descended, and the men of Chem, that's Egypt, shall know me no more. But in a time yet unborn will I rise again, mighty and potent, requiring accounting of those left behind me. Then beware, O men of Chem, if you have falsely betrayed my teaching, for I shall cast ye down from your high estate into the darkness of the caves from whence ye came. Betray not my secrets to the men of the north or the men of the south, lest my curse fall upon ye. Remember and heed my words, for surely will I return again, and require of thee that which ye guard. Even from beyond time and from beyond death will I return, rewarding or punishing as ye have requited your trust. Great were my people in the ancient days, great beyond the conception of the little people now around me. Knowing the wisdom of old, seeking far within the heart of infinity knowledge that belonged to the earth's youth, wise were we with the wisdom of the children of light who dwelt among us. Strong were we with the power drawn from the eternal fire. And of all these, greatest among the children of men was my father, Thothmes, keeper of the great temple, linked between the children of light who dwelt within the temple and the races of men, who inhabited the 10 islands, mouthpiece after the 3 of the dweller of Unal, speaking to the kings with the voice that they must be obeyed. Grew I there from a child into manhood, being taught by my father the elder mysteries. Until in time there grew within the fire of wisdom, until it burst into a consuming flame. Not desired I but the attainment of wisdom, until on his great day the command came from the dweller of the temple that I be brought before him. Few there were among the children of men who had looked upon that mighty face and lived. For not as the sons of men are the children of light when they are not incarnate in a physical body. Chosen was I from the sons of men, taught by the dweller so that his purposes might be fulfilled. Purposes yet unborn in the womb of time. Long ages I dwelt in the temple, learning ever and yet ever more wisdom, until I too approached the light emitted from the great fire. Taught me he the path to Amenti, the underworld where the great king sits upon his throne of might. Deep I bowed in homage before the lords of light and the lords of death, receiving as my gift the key of life. Free I was of the halls of Amenti, bound not by death to the circle of life. Far to the stars I journeyed until space and time became as naught. Then, having drunk deep of the cup of wisdom, I looked into the hearts of men, and there found I greater mysteries, and was glad. For only in the search for truth could my soul be stilled, and the flame within be quenched. Down through the ages, I live seeing those around me taste of the cup of death, and return again in the light of life. Gradually from the kingdoms of Atlantis passed waves of consciousness that had been one with me, only to be replaced by spawn of a lower star. In obedience to the law, the word of the Master grew into flower. Downward into darkness turned the thoughts of the Atlanteans, until at last in his wrath arose from his Aguanti the dweller. This word has no English equivalent. It means a state of detachment, Aguanti. Speaking the word, calling the power, deep in earth's heart the sons of Amenti heard, and hearing directed the changing of the flower of fire that burns eternally, changing and shifting, using the logos until the great fire changed its direction. Over the world then broke the great waters, drowning and sinking, changing earth's balance, until only the temple of light was left standing on the great mountain of Undal, still rising out of the water. Some there were who were living, saved from the rush of the fountains. Called to me them, the Master, saying, Called to me then the Master, saying, Gather ye together my people, take them by the arts ye have learned to far across the waters until ye reach the land of the hairy barbarians, dwelling in the caves of the desert. Follow there the plan that ye know of. Gathered I then my people and entered the great ship of the Master. Upward we arose into the morning. Dark beneath us lay the temple, and suddenly over it rose the waters. Vanished from earth until the time appointed was the great temple. Fast we fled toward the sun of the morning until beneath us lay the land of the children of Chem. Raging they came with cudgels and spears lifted in anger, seeking to slay and utterly destroy the sons of Atlantis. Then raised I my staff and directed a ray of vibration, striking them still in their tracks as fragments of stone of the mountain. Then spoke I to them in words calm and peaceful, telling them of the might of Atlantis, saying, We were children of the sun and its messengers. Cow I them by my display of magic science, until at my feet they groveled when I released them. Then long dwelt we in the land of Chem, long and yet long again, until obeying the commands of the Master, who while sleeping yet lives eternally, I sent from me the sons of Atlantis, sent them in many directions that from the womb of time wisdom might rise again in her children. Long time dwelt I in the land of Chem, doing great works by the wisdom within me. Upward grew into the light of knowledge the children of Chem. Watered by the rains of my wisdom, blasted I then a path to Amenti, so that I might retain my powers. Living from age to age, a son of Atlantis, keeping the wisdom and preserving the records. Great grew the sons of Chem, conquering the people around them, growing slowly upwards in soul force. Now for a time I go from among them into the dark halls of Amenti, deep in the halls of the earth, before the lords of power, face to face once again with the dweller. Raised I high over the entrance, a doorway, a gateway leading down to Amenti. Few there would be with courage to dare it. Few past the portal to dare Amenti. Raised over the passage, I, a mighty pyramid using the power that overcomes earth force or gravity. Deep and yet deeper placed I a force house or chamber, and from it carved I a circular passage reaching almost to the great summit. And there in the apex set I the crystal, sending the ray into the time-space, drawing the force from out of the ether, concentrating upon the gateway to Amenti. Other chambers I built and I left vacant, to all seeming, yet hidden with them are the keys to Amenti. He who in courage would dare the dark realms, let him be purified first by long fasting. Lie in the sarcophagus of stone in my chamber, then to reveal I to him the great mysteries. Soon shall he follow to where I shall meet him. Even in the darkness of the earth shall I meet him. I, Thoth, Lord of wisdom, meet him and hold him, and dwell with him always. Built I the great pyramid, patterned after the pyramid of the earth, force, burning eternally, so that it too might remain through the ages. In it I built my knowledge of magic, science, so that it might be here when again I return from Amenti. While I sleep in the halls of Amenti, my soul roaming free will incarnate and dwell among men in this form or another. Emissary earth am I, the dweller, fulfilling his command so man might be lifted. Now return I to the halls of Amenti, leaving behind me some of my wisdom. Preserve ye and keep ye the command of the dweller. Lift ever upwards your eyes towards the light. Surely in time ye are the one with the Master. Surely by right ye are one with the Master. Surely by right ye are one with the All. And now I depart from ye. Know my commandments, keep them and be them, and I will be with you, helping and guiding you into the light. Now before me opens the portal. Go I down into the darkness of night. And that's the first tablet of the Emerald Tablets. I'm going to take a peek into the chat room. Quite interesting, huh? Did you notice that Thoth is talking about the time of Atlantis' destruction? And he mentions this several times throughout this text. And he also talks about all the rituals and the magic, the circles, all the different things that are described in like the Lesser Keys of Solomon, which is a book of magic, from long ago. It describes the same kind of rituals. But in this text, he talks about his connections to high technology, high magic, and also to the children of Ham, the children of Egypt, the children of Chem, the Canaanites, all that is connected to those people over in that particular area, the Hamites, all that. For those that really look into it, you'll see that it's all connected to the same kind of phenomenon, the same thing of these particular space gods or, higher ones, giving knowledge to the children. And did you also notice how arrogant he was in saying the little people that are now around me, like even though he's this so-called highborn one, he's got this full-on arrogant attitude. So, all right, we're going to continue on because I want to try to cover at least half of this book this evening. And then if we have to, we'll do a follow-up. But, all right, I'm going to, this is from part 2, the Halls of Amenti. Deep in the earth's heart lie the Halls of Amenti. Far neath the islands of sunken Atlantis, halls of the dead and halls of the living, bathed in the fire of the infinite all. Far in a past time lost in the space-time, the children of light look down on the world, see the children of men in their bondage, bound by the force that came from beyond. Knew they that only by freedom from bondage could man ever rise from the earth to the sun. Down they descended and created bodies, taking the semblance of men as their own. The masters of everything said after their forming, we are they who were formed from the space dust, partaking of life from the infinite all, living in the world as children of men, like and yet unlike the children of men. Interesting, because this text also mentioned these interdimensional beings that came and that actually can take on and possess human bodies. It talks about that in this text too, which would you think that you'd find that in something 36,000 years old? Skipping just a little bit forward. There in the circle from eon to eon sit the great masters living a life not known among men. There in the halls of life they lie sleeping. Free flows their soul through the bodies of men. Time after time while their bodies lie sleeping, incarnate they in the bodies of men, teaching and guiding onward and upward out of the darkness into the light. There in the hall of life, filled with their wisdom, known not to the races of man living forever, neath the cold fire of life, sit the children of light. Times there are when they awaken and come from the depths to be lights among men, infinite they among the finite. He who by progress has grown from the darkness, lifted himself from the night into light, free is he made of the halls of Amenti, free of the flower of light and of life, guided he then by wisdom and knowledge, passes from man to the master of life. There he may dwell as one with the masters, free from the bonds of the darkness of night. Seated within the flower of radiance sit 7 lords from the space-time above us, helping and guiding us through infinite wisdom, the pathway through time of the children of men. Mighty and strange they, veiled with their power, silent, all-knowing, drawing the life force, different yet one with the children of men, different and yet one with the children of light. Custodian and watchers of the force of man's bondage, ready to loose when the light has been reached. First and most mighty sits the veiled presence, Lord of lords, the infinite nine over the others from each cosmic cycle, weighing and watching the progress of men. Under he sits the lords of the cycles, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, each with his mission, each with his power, guiding, directing the destiny of man. There sit with his mission, there sit they, mighty and potent, free of all time and space, not of this world they, yet akin to it. Elder brothers, they of the children of men, judging and weighing they with their wisdom, watching the progress of light among men. There before them was I led by the dweller, watched him blend with one from above. And then from he came forth a voice saying, Great art thou, Thoth, among children of men, free henceforth of the halls of Amenti, masters of life among children of men. Taste not of death except as thou wilt it. Drink thou of life to eternity's end. Henceforth forever is life, thine for the taking. Henceforth is death at the call of thy hand. Dwell here or leave here when thou desirest. Free is Amenti to the Son of Man. I'm going to skip just a little bit again, because I want to try to cover some of the history of Atlantis that is talked about in these texts. Okay. This is from part 3. we're going to skip to the tablet number 3, and I'm just going to highlight a few passages. All eyes do not see with the same vision, for to one an object appears of one form and color, and to a different eye of another. So also the infinite fire, changing form from color to color, is never the same from day to day. Man is a star bound to a body, until in the end he is freed through his strife. Only struggle and toiling thy utmost shall the star within thee bloom out in new life. He who knows the commencement of all things, free is his star from the realms of night. Wisdom cometh to all her children, even as they cometh unto wisdom. All through the ages the light has been hidden. Awake, O man, and be wise. Oft have I journeyed the deep hidden passage, looked on the light that is life among men. There, neath the flower of life ever living, searched I the hearts and the secrets of men. Found I that man is but living in darkness, light of the great fire is hidden within. Before the lords of hidden Amenti learned I the wisdom I give unto men. Masters are they of the great secret wisdom brought forth from the future of infinity's end. 7 are they, the lords of Amenti, overlords they are of the children of morning, sons of the cycle, masters of wisdom. Formed are not they as the children of men. 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, and 9 are the titles of the masters of men. Far from the future, formless yet forming, came they as teachers for the children of men. Live they forever, yet not of the living, bound not to life and yet free from death. Rule they forever with infinite wisdom, bound yet not bound to the dark halls of death. Life they have in them, yet life that is not life. Free from all are the lords of the all. Forth from them came forth the Logos, instruments they of the power over all. Vast is their countenance, yet hidden in smallness, formed by a forming yet unknown. These texts are really poetic in their references and the way that they're written. Okay, I'm skipping on. Okay, here's something of interest. And this is from Emerald Tablet number 4, which is entitled The Spaceborn. Long time ago, I in my childhood lay neath the stars on long-buried Atlantis, dreaming of the mysteries far above men. There in my heart grew there a great longing to conquer the pathway that led to the stars. Year after year I sought after wisdom, seeking new knowledge, following the way until at last my soul in great travail broke from its bondage and bounded away. Free was I from the bondage of earth men. Free from the body I flashed through the night. Unlocked at last for me was the star space. Free was I from the bondage of night. Now to the end of space sought I wisdom far beyond knowledge of infinite man. Now what he's talking about here is actually the ability to lucid dream. For those that don't know my history, I used to be a lucid dreamer and used to keep up with my dreams and write them down in detail and all that at one point in my life. And it's amazing the things you can do when you consciously awake in a dream and then are able to, after time, learn to hold that dream and retain it without it disappearing once you wake up in it. And for those that understand what I'm talking about, it's a very difficult feat, but once you accomplish it, the possibilities are endless. Far into space, my soul traveled freely into infinity's circle of light. Strange beyond knowledge were some of the planets, great and gigantic. Beyond dreams of men, yet found I law in all of its beauty, working through and among them. As here among men, flashed forth my soul through infinity's beauty, far through space I flew my thoughts. Many the stars I passed in my journey, many the races of men on their worlds, some reaching high as stars of the morning, some falling low in the blackness of night. Each and all of them struggling upward, gaining the heights and plumbing the depths, moving at times in realms of brightness, living through darkness and gaining the light. So he's saying that there are other worlds out there, full also of the races of men. Some I found who had conquered the ether, free of space were they, while they yet were men. Using the force that is the foundation of all things, far in space constructed they a planet, drawn by the force that flows through the all. Condensing, coalescing the ether into forms that grew as they willed, outstripping in silence, they all of the races, mighty in wisdom, son of the stars. Long time I paused, watching their wisdom, saw them create from out of the ether cities gigantic, of rose and gold, formed forth from the primal element, base of all matter, the ether far flung. Far in the past they had conquered the ether, freed themselves from the bondage of toil, formed in their mind only a picture, and swiftly created it grew. So here he's talking about having traveled out into the ether, into the cosmos in his dreaming body, in his soul body, and having seen these worlds, these other worlds, and peoples of these other worlds. And here he's talking about a people that has such spiritual knowledge and gains such spiritual insight that they are at one with the Lord to such a capacity that they, like the Christ did when he fed the masses with, a couple of baskets of fish and bread, that they also can use their thought to instantly manifest thought to form. And so I find this passage also very interesting. Okay, we're going to continue on. I'm going to try to get to some of this knowledge about Atlantis. And there's one I know I definitely got to get to before. Matter of fact, I'm going to go straight to it. I will do another show to pick up some of the other interesting aspects of this, but I'm going straight to tablet number 9. Because in the last 15 minutes, there's 2 different parts I want to cover. Okay, here we go. And I've read this particular passage a couple times on a couple different shows, but this is so you can go find it yourself and read it in context for yourself with the greater, the other aspects of the paragraphs. It's from tablet number 8. It's the Keys of Mystery. And it says this: man is in the process of changing to forms that are not of this world. Grows he in time to the formless, a plane on the cycle above? Know ye, ye must become formless, before ye are one with the light. Says this again, and I've covered this. Speak I of ancient Atlantis. Speak of the days of the kingdom of shadows. Speak of the coming of the children of shadows. Out of the great deep were they called by the wisdom of the earth men, called for the purpose of gaining great power. Far in the past, before Atlantis existed, men there were who delved into darkness, using dark magic, calling up beings from the great deep below us. Forth came they into this cycle, formless were they of another vibration, existing unseen by the children of earth men. Only through blood could they have formed being. Only through man could they live in the world. In ages past were they conquered by the masters, driven below to the places whence they came. But some there were who remained hidden in the spaces and plains unknown to men. Lived they in Atlantis as shadows, but at times they appeared among men? When the blood was offered, forth came they to dwell among men. In the form of man moved they amongst us, but only to the sight were they as our men. Serpent-headed when the glamour was lifted, but appearing to man as men among men, crept they into the councils, taking forms that were unto men, slaying by their arts the chiefs of the kingdoms, taking their form and ruling over man. Only by magic could they be discovered. Only by sound could their faces be seen. Sought they from the kingdom of shadows to destroy man and to rule in his place. But know ye, the masters were mighty in magic, able to lift the veil from the face of the serpent, able to send him back to his place. Came they to man and taught him the secret, the word that only a man can pronounce. Swift then they lifted the veil from the serpent and cast him forth from his place among men. Yet beware, the serpent still liveth in a place that is open at times to the world. Unseen they walk among thee in places where the rites have been said. Again, as time passes, onward shall they take the semblance of men. Called may they be by the master who knows the white or the black, but only the white master may control and bind them while in the flesh. Seek not the kingdom of shadows, for evils will surely appear. For only the master of brightness shall conquer the shadow of fear. Okay, I'm going to skip to one more passage and then we'll end the show. All right. This is from tablet number 11. And it says this. Know ye, O people amongst whom I walk, that I, Thoth, have all of the knowledge and all of the wisdom known to man since the ancient days. Keeper have I been of the secrets of the great race, holder of the key that leads into life. Bringer up have I been to ye, O my children, even from the darkness of the Ancient of Days. List ye now to the words of my wisdom. List ye now to the message I bring. Hear ye now the words I give thee, that ye shall be raised from the darkness to the light. Far in the past, when I first came to thee, found I thee in caves of rocks. Lifted I thee by my power and wisdom until thou didst shine as men among men. Found I thee without any knowing, only a little were ye raised beyond beast. Fanned I ever the spark of thy consciousness, until at last ye flamed as men. Now shall I speak to thee knowledge ancient beyond the thought of thy race. Know ye that we of the great race had and have knowledge that is more than man's. Wisdom we gained from the star-born races, wisdom and knowledge far beyond man's. Down to us had descended the masters of wisdom, as far beyond us as I am from thee. List ye now while I give ye wisdom. Use it and free thou shalt be. Know ye that in the pyramid I builded are the keys that shall show ye the way into life. Draw ye a line from the great image I builded to the apex of the pyramid. Built as a gateway, draw ye another opposite in the same angle and direction. Dig ye and find that which I have hidden. There shall ye find the underground entrance to the secrets hidden before ye were men. He talks about these several caches of knowledge that he has placed into the earth. Continuing. Deep neath earth's surface in the halls of Amenti sit the seven, the lords of the cycles, and another, the Lord from below. Yet know thee that in affinity there is neither above nor below, but ever there is and ever shall be oneness of all, when all is complete. Oft have I stood before the lords of the all, oft at the fount of their wisdom have drunken and filled both my body and soul with the light. Spake thee to me and told me of cycles and the law that gives them the means to exist. O Thoth, great are ye among earth's children, but mysteries exist which ye know not. Ye know that ye came from a space-time below this, and know ye shall travel to a space-time beyond. But little ye know the mysteries within them. Little ye know the wisdom beyond. Know ye that ye as a whole in this consciousness are only a cell in the process of growth. Okay, one final thing. This is from text number 12. It says this. Know ye, O man, that all of the future is an open book to him who can read. All effects shall bring forth its causes, as all effects grew from the first cause. Know ye the first future is not fixed or stable, but varies as cause brings forth an effect. Look in the cause thou shalt bring forth into being, and surely thou shalt see that all is effect. In the great beginning there grew the first cause that brought into being all that exists. Thou thyself art the effect of causation, and in turn are the cause of yet other effects. I'm going to have to pick it up. There's so much here, and I skipped the middle text, so I'll do a follow-up show and pick up the rest of the pieces here. But it doesn't take long to read. If you have the time, one afternoon, you can read this complete text. And it's truly, truly introspective in that, you know, considering this is supposed to be 36,000 years old, and it speaks of the ancient race, the Nachash, the feathered serpents, and those beings, and that we've been talking about, and that the Lord has been leading a lot of us to in these last days. Many of us are starting to have that same discernment. So, anyways, Sue says, "Wow," and I appreciate all of y'all enjoying the information. I'm trying to read some of your questions that you have here. Oh, anyways, just so everybody knows, that is the Emerald Tablets of Thoth that I was reading from, Thoth, supposedly 36,000 BC, only recently released to the public, 1929. But I do appreciate everybody, and we'll be following up. I've got so much more incredible information from all of these ancient texts to bring you. I've got texts that nobody has heard about that are only now being released that I also want to share, so that, you know, in having all this information for yourself, you'll be able to decide and discern yourself, and in your own relationship with the Father and the Son, that you can go before them in prayer, go before them and ask them to validate these things for yourself or not. It's out of the mouths of 2 or 3 witnesses that the truth is established. And so, you know, maybe this is one of those mouths, and maybe Dr. Joy or others, but hopefully what the things that we say here will be confirmed for you later. A seeker, too, says, since Moses was raised as an Egyptian, he no doubt was well-versed in all of their gods and the Emerald Tablets. Absolutely. Moses absolutely was well-versed in all of those things. And that's why he had discernment. He had all of the puzzles. He understood the jigsaw of truth. He understood what was false. He knew what was true. He knew the Creator in true relationship. And that makes all the difference. And there's nothing that is different about Moses than all of the rest of us. We, too, can have relationship with the Father and the Son in such a way that they will also elevate us and use us in whatever ways to glorify their own names and glorify them through us to the people of the world. And just so you know, there's an example. Tim Tebow is a great example of this right now. Diana says, do you think the old gods were fallen angels? Yes, the old pagan gods, all of those that were not part of the Morning Star administration, Yahweh, Yahushua, the Father and the Son, the Holy Spirit, those are all false religions. And that's why it's important for us to decipher and discern the way they are. God bless all of you.
A number of things that I've heard from people in the Pentagon, that the buzzword in the secret of secrets in the Pentagon is the Sumerian gods are returning, and that's what they're referring to as that whole area that Peter.
Wow.
Can you repeat that again, just in case anybody missed it? The buzzword
in the Pentagon, in the military circles that are in the know about the cover-up here, they kind of, in whispered tones, talk about the return of the Sumerian gods. And they're talking about what we would call aliens or fallen angels returning into the Middle East, into Old Sumer area.
The Anunnaki.
Well, could be.
Under the other ancient names.
Do you think that has anything to do with why we're in a